Today, I'm going to share with you all one of the most profound and beautiful experiences I've ever had in my entire life. So I'm going to need you to watch this video with an open mind, and I'm going to give my heart and truth in this video, and I hope it positively impacts you all.
Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no, no.
Last night, I had one of the most amazing dreams. And this dream was more than amazing. It was more than a dream. It was very physical for me. It was very emotional for me. It was very mentally stimulating for me. It reached me on the deepest level. I would go as far to say this dream was almost like divine intervention in my life. And it took place at my grandmother's house. And whenever I have a dream at my grandmother's house, it's always usually a milestone for me. It's always usually a turning point for me in my life. And nobody lives there. Nobody's lived at her actual old place for years. She moved away. She lives in a retirement home now, but no one lives there. So I haven't seen that place in years, but I always end up coming back to it in dreams, which is kind of cool to me. But this dream starts off in her kitchen, right? And I feel like I was there for a while before my memory right now. Like I was doing things, I was talking to her, and going throughout the kitchen and doing things before I can, I can't even recall that stuff. But the first thing that I remember is I was sitting down at the kitchen table. I'm pretty sure there was some food on the stove. I can smell something good in the air. But I remember talking to my cousin. My cousin was there, and we were talking, and we were having a good time. And then the idea popped into my head that I was not from there. I wasn't from this place. And the more I began to think about it, the more I realized I was from an alternate timeline. I told my cousin, I had to tell him, I told him that, hey man, I don't think I'm from here. I think I'm from the future. And as I told him this, the dream began to fall apart. Except it fell apart in a way in which everything was like still together. It was like it sent my consciousness into this purgatory kind of dream realm where I couldn't see anything anymore and I could barely move. And it was frightening, it was scary. I couldn't process it because it was a new experience for me. But I remember thinking to myself, like, how long am I going to be stuck like this? What's happening right now? And as soon as as I calmed down, it spat me out into the next room in our house. And it spat me out though with when my vision came back, it was like I had a filter over my eyes and everything was like dark blue. Well, I just made a connection that's pretty deep. I'll tell you in a second. So I started walking towards her bedroom, and my grandmother's bedroom. And I walk in and I look to my right and she's in her bed, but it's like she's frozen in time or something. She's like in this really awkward position where she's like in the middle of getting up, right? She's not all the way up and she's not laying down. She's like right here, like at a 135-degree angle, if I can make it. But anyway, and so she's like frozen and the TV's like still playing though. It was really just strange. It was so strange, but I kissed her forehead and I kind of pet her head a little bit because my grandma, I love my grandma, And I was calm. It didn't scare me though. I was so calm. There was like an inner peace in me that I've never really experienced before. But I leave that room, and then I started headed towards the back room. Now the connection I just made in my mind was about a year ago. I had a dream about her house, right? And I was walking towards this back room, but the back room was barricaded by this dark blue energy. And I couldn't go past it, which is really intense to think about right now. It was this dark blue energy I couldn't walk past, and when I tried to go through it, it's like I started falling apart in the dream. Like I started losing energy, and I couldn't stand, and I couldn't think, and so I had to back up from the dark blue kind of aura energy that was in front of this walkway. And now I'm making another connection. When I was a child, going into this back room, I always would have this feeling within me that there was a presence there. and I would be afraid to go back there. Even as I was 12 years old, I always felt this presence there, and I didn't like going into that back room. But so now in this dream that I had last night, I could go in this back room. And so I'm walking in this back room, and I'm walking, and then there's a hallway that leads to the back room though. So it's like a really kind of narrow hallway, and I'm walking towards it, and it's like a right turn you have to make to get to the back room, and then there's a door. And so as I make this right turn, as I headed, I see the back door right there. I'm getting to walk to it. The thought popped into my mind: start calling out for God. Start asking God to appear in this back room. It just popped into my mind. And so I did. I started saying, God, show yourself to me. Show your eyes to me, and bring your ears so you can hear me and we can talk. God, appear in this dream. God, talk to me. And as I opened this door, another thought popped into my mind: start calling out for your mother. And my mother passed away when I was 7 years old. So, in case you all didn't know that, I don't think I've ever talked about it in other videos, but she passed away when I was 7. And so one thing that I've always been kind of chasing in my dreams is my mother, trying to get to see her face to face and talk to her. And so as I opened this door, the thoughts were now kind of going in my mind, and I was saying out loud, God, show yourself to me. Mom, come with God. Come together. Please come to me right now. And the room was different than it was in reality. This room was way bigger. And as I take about 10 steps into this room, there's this stairwell that starts spiraling up, like in the middle of the room. And so I start walking, and I hop on the stairwell. And as I'm hopping on the stairwell, I look back down towards the lower level, and my mother is standing in the distance. And she's wearing like this gray sweatsuit that she would always wear around the house. And I see her in the distance, and I can kind of feel this, like I can feel it now. I felt this kind of like paralysis energy in my chest that was just like so much to take in at that moment. And so I go back down the steps, and I start walking to her. And this is where you would kind of expect in a dream for the dream to fall apart. And I'd be like, man, I was so close. But the dream didn't fall apart. And I walked up to her, and I looked in her eyes, and she was there. I got to touch my mother and hug my mother and talk to my mother. I haven't got to do that in 14 years since I was a little boy. But it was her. It was her. It wasn't like the dream distorted what she was, because sometimes you look in the mirror in a dream and you won't even see yourself for real. You'll see like a version of yourself. But this was my mother. It was actually her, and I saw the energy behind her eyes, and I felt her presence in her voice. It was my mother, and she sat me down, and we started talking. And I wish I could remember everything that I asked her. I asked her so many things. She told me, and she answered so many questions for me. But the things that I really remember more than anything was I got to kiss her cheek. And when I kissed her cheek, she kind of jumped. And then I was like, why'd you jump? Why? And I was cold. My skin was so cold in this dream. And I remember her telling me that be extremely mindful of the words you use. They're your biggest tool. And I remember her telling me that she's always been with me, and she's been giving me wisdom. And I'm like, so all of the things that I share on YouTube, the ideas that I share, did you help me with that? And she was like, yes, I've been here helping you all this time. I've been giving you wisdom, and I've been aiding you in your thinking process. And she didn't say that specifically, but I'm paraphrasing, but so many words she told me that she's been with me, inside of me, giving my mind what it needs to do what it's doing now. And she told me about how making this channel and these videos is part of my purpose. It's a huge, it is my purpose to affect lives in the way I've been, affecting. She just told me so much. I can't even But then towards the end of the dream, more it's like angels started coming into the room, and they started sharing ideas with me, and I can't remember everything. In the dream, I even pulled out a little notepad in the dream and started writing stuff down. And the only thing I can remember writing down was the word freedom. But it was, I guess it all is in my subconscious and it's all there. And I have the feeling that I'm gonna have more dreams like this because my dreams have been getting more real and more physical like this lately. And longer. This was a long dream, but it's crazy, man. It's one of the most profound dreams I've ever had. So, what do y'all think? Leave your comments below. After I woke up, man, I literally woke up and I was filled with energy. And I sat down on this stool right here. I sat down on this for about an hour and just stared off into space and just thought. I tried to process what had happened. Woo! It was an experience, but yeah, once again, thanks for watching this video. I hope this kind of resonates with you and hits something inside of you. And be sure to leave comments and like and all that good stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it. So much love. Till next time, y'all be easy, alright? Is it your circumstances in life that affect and create your mind? Or is it your mind that affects and creates your circumstances? And when you think about it, in reality, you can kind of go both ways with it. Both of them are